This interview is with Elaine Powell, and she is one of the grands in the speaking industry. And I really enjoy working with her. It's a lot of fun doing an interview with her, and because she is so professional. So I'm going to read her bio aloud. Elaine Powell is an award-winning professional speaker and public speaking coach, founder of the MindSpeak Academy that supports coaches and speakers and entrepreneurs. Amplify their voice, message, and story for income and impact in the world. Having spoken at over 150 events, trained 30,000 people, delivered 600 workshops, she was also a curator at a Tedx event for 3 years. Elaine is passionate about people transformation. So don't forget to download her valuable gift and join her Facebook group. You can find the link in her bio. So enjoy. Here is Elaine Powell. This interview is going to be different. Elaine Powell is in the house, so that's amazing. And you can't see her, but she's doing a little dance. And yeah, I never thought that when we met a while ago that this would happen, and it's a wonderful surprise. And I'm so glad that Elaine is here because she is an amazing interviewer. She does wonderful summits that you really need to attend and be in her Facebook group. And today she is going to interview me about the Global Highly Sensitive Men's Summit experience. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Suzanne, for having me, and welcome everybody who's watching. So I'm going to take over the reins now, and because I really want to know about you, Suzanne, you know, a lot about your background that's led you up to this point right now. And then we're going to look at why did you put together this summit? What are some of the challenges that you've seen that's been happening? And also what people can expect out of watching these incredible interviews. So let's start off with, how did you get to do what you're doing right now, Suzanne?
I am really advocating for highly sensitive men because I think they're so misunderstood. And when a young man a few months ago said to me, why do women on social media assume that just because you're a man, you want to do something bad to women? And yeah, when you are a highly sensitive boy, man, and you don't always know where you belong. Is it with a man? Is it with a woman? And it's not always with a gay group, of course. So then it can be really confusing. So then you are searching in your life and with a big question, where do I belong? And that's already tough. But when you also have that idea that just because you're a man, you need to be something else or do something else, on top of it, I really thought I need to do more. And I want to do more. And I'm already writing articles and having my own Mayfreak community group for sensitive men. But yeah, this is, I feel that this is the start of something that needs to be out there in the world.
Yeah, definitely. You know, when there's a pain, when there's a problem, people are searching for that solution. I'm very inquisitive because people watching may not know of you. How did you get to do what you're doing in terms of your career? So you're a coach. Have you always been a coach? And how, you know, have you always been a coach, but did you eventually evolve into working with highly sensitive men and women? Was that because you were a sensitive child growing up? I just kind of want to know a little bit more about what you actually do in terms of your business.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I am highly sensitive, off the charts, in a positive way. Um, I I think it was 24 years ago. I followed a lecture, and there was a lecture series in a church, and one of them was about new age children. And I know new age children is not the same as highly sensitive children, but when I attended, I knew for sure that I was going to teach about that subject. And when I explored that more, I came in contact with the term of high sensitivity. And I thought, oh, wow. It was so clear to me that this is what, that this was my path. So at the time I went to the Teachers Academy and I said, oh, all the teachers need to know. This is so important that there are different kinds of children who need to be approached in a different way, and they have different needs, and you need to support them in a different way. So then the specific Teacher Academy said, no, we're not going to do that because you are not certified yet, because I was still at the Teachers Academy. From there, seeing, well, after graduation, working in education, I very early on, I felt so physically sick seeing children come into the education system at the age of 4, at least in the Netherlands. And when they come in, they're already complete. They're like circles. And I had the feeling that I had to make squares out of them just because it's a system. And that I saw that the system didn't always, not always, serve these children. So from there, I knew that I needed to do more. So I worked in education and different kinds of age groups and different types of education also, but I wanted to do more and in a different way. So then I did child coaching, then I did youth coaching, then I did everything around adult coaching, because I saw that when parents are involved, you get much more long-term results. Mm. And what happens when you guide the children, the teens, and the parents? You have to get that whole package into the schools. And then you need to educate the teachers, and then the professionals also came to me and asked, how can I help them? How can I serve? And the majority of my clients at the time, the children and the teens, were male, were boys. And yeah, at a certain point, sometimes in life you get that feeling that that you just know things, just like I talked about in the attending the lecture in the church at the time. But I also had that incredibly strong feeling that I needed to go to Italy, so move from the Netherlands to Italy, and spread awareness about high sensitivity. And that was really not a logical choice. It's not something that I planned out or that I thought of in specific details, not at all. It was such a strong feeling that I said that whatever happens, I'm going to do this. And our life was good. It was really good. There was nothing that, I wasn't searching for the material things. I really wanted this to yes, come from the invisible into the visible, into the tangible. So then I moved to Italy, and I also knew at the time that it should be the center of Italy, the middle of Italy. So we, my family and I, we jumped from the Netherlands into Tuscany, and it really actually happened. It appeared. And now, 5 years later, here I am. And it's, yeah, it's like you said, it is an evolution. It really is. So what is really great now is that I am a legacy leader. So what it is that I do is I help people, sensitive people, exploring their why, living their purpose, and really creating their legacy. Because I know what it takes. I know what beliefs you encounter during that whole journey. And I know that there are days that you might be so exhausted that it's really difficult to just even put one foot in front of the other. And it takes a lot of grit to create your legacy and endurance in that path. So it has become a whole combination, but it's all for sensitive people to let them shine into the world, to get their work and all the ideas that they have into the world.
Wow, that's incredible. What a journey. I look, a key couple of things that shouted out for me is that, one, you listen to your inner guide. And many times people will push it down and just go into their head versus actually, what am I feeling and why am I feeling this for a reason, like to question it. And I love the fact that you listen to that and it's taken you to where we are now. And I love also that you help people to live their purpose, create a legacy, and having that endurance. So my question around this is that I feel in the world, in our global community, there is a conversation that I've heard it many times. Oh, you're being oversensitive. Like it's a bad thing if you're highly sensitive. It's not really seen as a strength. Many times it's seen as a weakness. It's a bad thing. And I'm sure you have your own, obviously, expertise and perspective on what is highly sensitive. Let's look at that first of all. What is highly sensitive in your view?
Yeah, high sensitivity is an innate neutral temperament trait. So it is just like you have a certain hair color or eye color, and it is, I totally understand what you're saying. It is sometimes put in a different, not so positive spotlight, and that's exactly what I'm working on. I also don't agree with the victimhood that goes around in the highly sensitive world. Your life can be tough, of course, and sometimes it is. That's really life. But your life isn't just tough because you're highly sensitive. That's not the reason at all. It's a neutral trait. So you can thrive with this and soar in life. And you can look at all the participants, how they shifted their beliefs and do their work into the world. And that's also why I don't agree with titles and programs like becoming a strong sensitive. I really don't agree with that. What happens when our highly sensitive children and teens read these titles? It's actually really damaging. And because in my opinion, what I see within my clients is that they are incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. If you just knew what the inner world of a highly sensitive person looks like, you would never ever say that. You would not think that. And I think that in the business world and within the coaching world, there are a lot of terms used as becoming more resilient or a strong sensitive in a way that feels like abuse. Because, and I certainly don't agree with the term resilience. I would rather say grit, because these people, these highly sensitive people, these highly sensitive men that we are now talking about, are incredibly resilient. It takes a lot of guts to and courage to work on your personal growth, on your evolution, being willing to stand up every time over and over, even when life takes you down on your knees, and when you have the feeling that, yeah, I have that visual in my mind now from a few clients, where they were in their most vulnerable moments and they still had that grit and stood up, and they really broke that chain, a lot of chains, a change of beliefs, conditioning, being programmed in a certain way. And sometimes you can really hear those chains falling when I work with them. It's so I really, yeah, what I wanted to portray in this summit experience is that there are so many different kinds of sensitive men. There's a whole variety. And usually it's the idea that a highly sensitive man lives in a teepee tent, and it's wonderful. And there are many more different types of sensitive people just amongst women. And it's so fun because you will meet a lot of sensitive men who you might not have thought that they are highly sensitive.
Yeah, because it's not always something you can visually see. I guess it's a way of being. And what I'm hearing is that we are born into a conditioning that men don't cry and women are highly emotional, and that's not the box of reality. So I love that you said when you work with them, you can see that they break free and maybe just understand themselves a lot more, and maybe accept that how there's no wrong in how they are, and embrace it. So that's what I heard from what you've shared. But I'd love now to hear about, because you mentioned that you've pulled together an array of incredible men for people to watch during this summit. So I'm really intrigued to hear about some of these people that you've pulled together and why you pulled them together, and what we can expect from watching the summit.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so and there are also amazing women in the summit, because this is for the teens, for the adult men, and for women. Because as also being a mother, you sometimes might think, how is my sensitive child going to thrive in this world? Mm. And it's sometimes an unjust world. So I really would like women to enjoy all the videos and hear from the men what they would like women to know, because there were like 3 main questions. How did you perceive the world as a child? What do you want the younger generation to know? And what would you like women to know? So yeah, that's why I also spoke about those topics. And there are 3 other women, really wonderful ladies, who are also in the summit and sharing with us. Yes, so there is, like I said, a variety, and there are from different places in the world, and I really liked working with them because either we already had a connection, a really good bond, so I wanted to include them, and they are from different backgrounds. So you see, you'll listen to high achievers, to writers, to coaches, to producers. A wide range of wonderful, highly sensitive men who are proud to be a highly sensitive man.
Mm. Yeah, and obviously you've interviewed, how many people have you interviewed now?
Now already 14.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And what has been your sort of takeaway that you've been seeing that's been repeated, a few times that people can, sometimes we want to know what are the results. So I watch this, but what are some of the things that you feel that when people watch this, they'll be able to go out and think, do, and feel after watching the summit?
Um, I spoke about already about not belonging somewhere. You don't, and then you have the feeling that you're searching for a certain home. Where do I belong? Even sometimes to like feeling homesick to a certain time that you weren't even born yet. So on top of that, when you step into a relationship and your female partner has had not so pleasant experiences with other men, that you both men and women grant each other time to explore, because they also need to get used to a highly sensitive man who is not.
Totally understand that, because like I look at my past relationships and they've been in the world sort of dialogue of alpha male type of thing, and my last partner, being someone who was a musician, he was very highly sensitive, and I had to get used to, sometimes he was more in tune with my feelings than I actually was myself. He would say, I can hear that you're feeling this and this. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. And it was a really lovely space. So I think it's down to us women as well to create that space, to not make a man feel wrong for expressing his emotions, and just, I know we say highly sensitive, but not being highly sensitive as in they'll get upset very quickly, but they're just very attuned to their emotional state. And I suspect the emotional state of other people as well. So as a woman now, I'm in relationships, just really being accepting that he is how he is, not the mold I thought he should be, who shouldn't be feeling this way or reacting that way. Well, no, he's another human being, and emotions are powerful. So yeah, that's what I'm hearing from what you shared, and for him to, I guess, have a belonging not only in the world but belonging inside of him, that sensitivity belongs. It's not something that's wrong.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So how did it feel for you to have a highly sensitive partner?
I had to get used to it because I'm quite a strong, someone would say alpha female. He actually made me more aware of how I was feeling inside of the relationship and my own emotions, which I hadn't. I was very much in the head. And so now I've come back down and just been more aware of how I'm feeling and not make myself wrong for feeling a certain emotion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like you're interviewing me now. So I'm going
Yeah, sorry, this is my nature.
So I'm going to switch it around. So it's 14 interviews in total?
No, there will be more. Yeah.
There'll be more. Okay. And over a space of time. And I'm really interested, what would you like people to do after they've watched your summit that would make Suzanne's heart sing?
Yeah, it would be great if highly sensitive men would take up more space in the world. And from an evolutionary standpoint, it would be amazing. I understand that it's scary and it's a whole journey, but the world really benefits from their sensitive talents, from their sensitive being and energy. So that would be so wonderful. I want to say many things now, but I can't express it. That's actually something that I really wish for high sensitive men. Please take up more space. When you help yourself, you also help the children and the teens and the women. And it's we are all connected. And in that way, you are also a role model, because non-highly sensitive men also benefit when you are so incredibly true to yourself, and not like many people say that you have to toughen up, but it's a true art. It's a masterpiece when you can stay true to yourself. And it sounds so simple, but it's the most difficult thing you can do. But the world will benefit from it greatly. So when you are more true to yourself and you take up more space, so more people hear about high sensitivity, about highly sensitive men, you give other people permission to also drop that mask and feel more free and more connected to you. So that will help you, but also a lot of other people. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do want to say that that there's that sometimes high sensitivity is being used as an excuse. Well, I cannot help it, I'm highly sensitive. So that's something that I also don't agree with. I see that there's also a misconception about non-highly sensitive men, that they are cruel and that they are completely not sensitive. That's not true at all. I know many non-highly sensitive men who have incredible steadfast values and for example, express their emotions also freely, but they're not highly sensitive. It's just the same as a highly sensitive man who maybe just cannot cry at all and can be irritable at times, just like anybody else. So let's face it, we are not busy being kind 24/7. We're human.
Yeah.
So that's something that I wanted to address because there's not. I really want to have an overlap in the world, and not that there's just a highly sensitive part and a non-highly sensitive part.
I do feel, working with a lot of people in coaching, that sometimes we're not in tune with that sensitive part of our nature because things have happened in the past and we've had a conversation and we've kind of closed things down. We've, people put up walls to protect themselves, whether you're highly sensitive or you're not. And I've just known, growing and evolving, the more that I've dealt with myself internally, then the more I can just be, and be okay if I'm highly sensitive, be okay if I'm not. But because I've done that inner work, and I feel that that's a lot of the work that you do, obviously with the inner world, and also with this summit as well. It's having people reflect internally so that they can have a better experience externally.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and programming is really strong. And another thing that I would really wish for a highly sensitive man, that when they are in groups, that they stick together more, that there's more brotherhood. And luckily, the men in the Mayfair community are already doing just that. But for women, you have the saying, well, you can fix another woman's crown and not tell anyone about it. And that's wonderful. And I think the same applies to men. Because men, well, not only men, but now we're talking about men, you can be programmed that there's a hierarchy, and when you're in a group, you have to have the last word, or there's maybe some ego involved, and when there is a discussion, I would really like highly sensitive men to stick together and not withdraw, and not even verify what another person really means by what they're saying. So the brotherhood piece is really important.
Yeah, wow, so powerful. So I know you're watching out there. Listen, this summit isn't for me, it's just not for highly sensitive men. It's for people like me. People, I'm not as highly sensitive as some other people, but I think if we all understood, men, women, what it is to be a highly sensitive person, when they come into my space, I have that awareness. I think self-awareness is really key. So if you're watching, go and share this summit. Share the summit with other highly sensitive men so you can bring them into the brotherhood. Share the summit with people who you feel don't understand what highly sensitive is, so that they can understand, and expand all of our awareness in such a really, really important subject, because these are our children. These are the young men, young boys who are going to grow up into the young men of our future. So let's create a world that's a lot more balanced than it is right now. So I really want to thank you, Suzanne, for the work that you're doing, and for all of the people who have contributed to the summit. I salute you. It's a conversation that's needed to be had a lot more. And I'm sure after the summit, you're going to be doing a lot of that. So I'd like to ask you, as we come to the close, after the summit, what's next for Suzanne?
Yes, we are going to continue with the Maverick Community Support Group. It's a 6-week program for sensitive men. So we discuss a variety of topics, and there's coaching within, sometimes hot seats, and especially that support and exploring our inner world. I already say our, it's for sensitive men, but I'm so into this world about the internet, and I sometimes forget that I speak in the we form. And so we're discussing things like boundaries, about masculinity, emotional intelligence, sexuality, the friend zone. When are you in the friend zone? When you're dating, for example. Especially about relationships with parents and beliefs that you have. And yes, that's like I already told you, I'm a legacy leader, and that's my legacy, my work in education, and for example, the masterclass for parents who have highly sensitive children who struggle in education. And the masterclass is also called How to Support Your Sensitive Child's Needs in Education, and all the work for highly sensitive men. So that's my part. Besides leading the legacy of other people, this is my legacy. And yeah, so people can join that. And for women, we have a wonderful community program which is called Blossom. So how we uplift each other to shine into the world and do the great work that we are here for to do, because we're all here for a reason.
Wow. One word, wow. Such incredible and important work that you're up to, and I'm sure many those watching will definitely want to be part of that. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing with us your journey and why you put the summit together, and what people can expect from the interview series and what's happening for you afterwards. So I think it's I'm interviewing you, but I would like to leave the last words with you, Suzanne, for those listening.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there's so much I want to say. So much. Yeah, so when you have the feeling that you know that you need to do something in life, it's there for a reason. So go after it. Don't waste time.
Yeah, that's what you did. Listen to your inner guide. So to close off this interview, thank you so much, Suzanne, for sharing your pearls of wisdom, sharing your legacy. And I love your legacy. And thank you very much for the work that you're doing in the world. The world needs you. The world needs you listening to this interview series. And I just want to say thank you so much, Suzanne. And I really look forward to watching the summit.
Yeah, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you. So everyone go to Elaine's Facebook group. You can learn so much about speaking, about interviewing, and so much more. And she has a lovely training that's for the professionals. So it's really fun. What would you? I'm so curious. What would you like to say to the highly sensitive man?
Yeah, carry on being you. I can only speak for myself. I wanted to do the we appreciate, but I appreciate you. And there's many, many people in the world who appreciate you. You bring balance to the world. So keep on being you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And take care. Enjoy the series. Bye-bye.